Hey everyone, welcome back to Voice Global. This is part of our Fireside chat series, and I'm excited for our next guest. Nils Lenke is the Vice President of the Apps Business Unit at Cerence. Nils, how are you doing?
I'm fine. Thank you. I mean, all the circumstances, but it's going well. Thank you.
Yeah, here we are, right? We're really in the midst. We still are in the midst of this pandemic. I know a lot of places are opening up, but I think we're, it's not a time to be doing in-person conferences yet. I hope we get there soon, but for now, this is the best we can do. And we're connecting 10,000 people from around the world here at Voice Global. So we're doing everything we can to keep this industry moving forward. And along those lines, I am glad that we can let folks know about Cerence as a company, because it's a fairly recent organization that spun off of Nuance. And for those of you that don't know Nuance, probably one of the companies that really defined commercial voice and has done so much work across industries. But Nils, I'll let you kind of give a little bit of the backstory on that with regards to Cerence and the spinoff from Nuance.
Correct. So I've been with the company for 25 years now. So I've seen a lot of its history. And as you mentioned, Nuance has been a leader in voice for a long time. And it had different divisions dealing with voice in different verticals. So healthcare, enterprise, and a very successful division focused on the automotive industry. Growing very fast, very dynamic, and very well, looking for doing more investments, growing even faster. And it was decided the best path forward would be to bring that up as an independent company. We are now listed independently as a stock on NASDAQ since October 1, totally independent company.
Wow.
Left Nuance behind and fully focusing on the automotive industry still.
I don't think I knew the public piece of that. That's fascinating. And so as the Vice President of Apps, the Apps Business Unit, tell us a little bit about that and kind of what your day-to-day role looks like.
Sure. I mean, let me start with maybe the other business unit. So we have a business unit called the Core Business Unit, which does the traditional business, selling licenses, selling solutions to OEMs, to the car manufacturers directly. And looking at how things develop, there is a lot of hunger and appetite in the industry for innovation, for rolling out new services, new applications to the car. Maybe not the traditional way, but through app stores, deploying new applications end-to-end that solve problems for drivers and the passengers in the car. And that's what the Apps BU is about. So we decided to set up an independent business unit, which is going after this new and quickly growing segment. So not trying to sell licenses, but building applications end-to-end, deploying them and solving problems for drivers, really.
Yeah, solving problems for drivers. I think that, as somebody, I have an old car and I have a new car. So it's like I definitely noticed, the new car is much friendlier, with regards to, voice interactivity. I know that the pandemic has impacted all of us because I'm not driving my car nearly as much. In fact, I'll find myself just wanting to go get in the car and take a drive because I'm not going to the office anymore. But what are some of the things that you're seeing with regards to trends for in-car? You all are so close to it and you play such a big role. Where are things trending for in-car usage?
Well, there's a lot of things going on. So, I mean, we see the connected car being more or less the standard by now. I mean, some years ago, we deployed the first systems as hybrid systems, meaning we deploy software in the car, but also software in the cloud, working together in a seamless experience. And that allows things like deploying new services, updating services overnight, adapting to new things emerging, and that has really changed the experience. Like you alluded to it, there's a lot of old cars, and frankly, they had old speech systems on board, which were designed maybe 10, 15 years ago, deployed in the car, and weren't updated. Today, we have the cloud component. We can update overnight. We have things like over-the-air updates coming along, so we can even update the onboard system. So systems are a lot more, say, up-to-date at all times. They don't age that much. We work with the OEMs all the time, so we do not just throw something over the fence and then it's in the car for 10 years. Instead, we work with them on a continuous basis and and refresh the systems, do fresh jobs, do over-the-air updates, and all that good stuff. And I mean, this also alludes to the other trend. Some years ago, we would work through tier ones, but then the OEMs discovered, hey, this is important, right? I mean, the user experience, the infotainment system really is what makes the buying decisions of buyers today. It's no longer the horsepower, the engine, right? Who cares? And electrical cars are coming up. So what is important is the screen, the connectivity, the voice system, how do you interact with the car, what the information is available, how do you stay connected with your friends while driving. So that's very important to OEMs, and they love working with us directly on this. So we team up with them. We have joint development programs. So it's a totally different way of working compared to 5-10 years ago. And then,
go ahead.
Sorry. It helps the case of speech that there are smart speakers today. People are really used to talking to devices at home, and they bring the same expectation to the car. So it's really also helping the case in the car. I mean, the voice has been in the car for a long time. We started deploying in the 1990s. Yeah, and we have put speech into more than 300 million cars by now, which is way more than any smart speakers out there. But still today we see people are a lot more using voice. They bring this expectation how it should work and that it's available all the time into the car, and they use voice for doing more things. Yeah, and then second of all, there is a connection really between the car and the home, right? Imagine you come home and you want to switch on the light and open the garage door, and you can, right? There's a connection between the voice assistant and the car, which can reach out to other voice assistants, which are more focused on special tasks. We call that cognitive arbitration. So basically one assistant knows, well, that other guy is better at switching on lights, so I reach out to that attendant or that assistant and do it. Yeah, so there is really a connection, car to X, we call it. So from the car to the home or other ecosystems.
Right. So you're driving home and you can tell the car, turn on my lights, turn up the heat, things like that. That's fascinating. Where do you, where do you see things trending? And as we look into, 2021, 2022, what would you say some of the more exciting trends are for voice in the car?
So first of all, there is a trend towards more emotional experience. Yeah? So we have that on the input side. We do things like emotion detection and combined with driver monitoring, so we know how the driver feels, and we can adapt the system to that. We can detect if somebody's tired and react, engage them in a conversation to see what can be done. And there is also emotion on the output side. We have emotional TTS that is a lot more natural than it used to be, and you have the same voice that can speak in different flavors and different emotional styles. So the experience will get more emotional, and that's one trend. The other trend is commerce in the car. Imagine you don't have to get out of your car to do things like order a coffee and pick it up, pay for gas, pay for parking, don't touch anything at the moment, right? So that's coming. Right. So we're working with a lot of partners there to make that happen, so you can really make financial transactions relevant to drivers from the car. That's another trend. So there is really a lot going on around all these topics of AI, connected car, that allow many new things that weren't possible a couple of years ago.
Fascinating. I think about the commerce piece. I think that's really, it is really interesting. Curbside pickup now, so you don't have to go inside.
Correct.
Yeah, it would be amazing to just be driving, order something, have it, tied to my credit card, transaction goes through, add a tip, all that stuff.
Exactly. And that also very safe, because we also have something called voice biometrics, which is, detecting if somebody is who they claim they are and making transactions even safer. Yeah? So then it's convenient and it's safe and it's fully integrated in the voice experience. So we think it's very important that you tie this into existing things. Imagine you have your navigation system, you tell it to navigate you or to drive you somewhere, and it tells you, hey, by the way, I can see there is no on-street parking available where you're going, but I can reserve a parking place for you in a garage. Should I do it? Yeah. So really, the seamless experience that solves the problem for you.
How many of us have driven around blocks and blocks in a city looking for a parking place, right?
Right.
That is a welcome innovation. So as we as we're talking to people from around the world here at Voice Global, and a lot of folks are kind of new to this space. That's why we're excited to talk with Cerence, given your long history and your background and the work that you're doing. What advice would you give to folks that are coming into this market, coming into voice for the first time, and maybe they're trying to get started and they just want to kind of get a lay of the line? Is there any advice you would give to somebody that's just getting started in this industry?
Well, it's hard to say, right? I mean, we're all still, I mean, we have been around for a long time, but we're all still at the beginning. I mean, there is so much more to come. We're all discovering that together. So I wouldn't say I have the definitive advice here. I mean, the one thing I would say is start from the user experience. So start from the humans. Don't start with technology. Don't take technology and say, what do you do with it? But start with problems people have and try to solve them. I mean, so many systems have been built that didn't go anywhere because they started from the technology angle, but we should really start from the user experience and say, hey, here's a person who has a problem or something that can be organized better, and voice can do the trick. Yeah. And then
That's
the other,
great. I have to tell you, that is great advice. I think that, so yeah, don't sell yourself short. That is a very strong piece of advice in this space, is that really you're tackling human engagement challenges, and whether it's you have an idea for a game or an enterprise or something in the auto, you've got to solve the people problem first before you even start on technology. So great piece of advice there. It sounds like you've got something else for us.
I wanted to say, I mean, also understand how voice plays in the mix of modalities. So we deploy more and more multimodal systems. So you really need to understand, okay, this is something that's done by voice in a good way, but here's something that should be done with other control elements like gaze or gestures. Here's something on the output side that should rather be shown as a list rather than read out, and really go into this multimodal world and see where voice really does the trick and where it needs to be combined with other modalities. Is something that we are currently working on, right? I mean, we don't claim voice is the solution to everything.
Right.
It's in the mix, and multimodal systems are the future, really.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's part of the mix. It's part of the full stack now, and it's part and now it can't be ignored, right? I think voice for a long time may have been a nice to have, but now it's a must have. We're at that point, and I know why Cerence was spun out and treated specially, I think, inside the company. Really admire the work you're doing. I appreciate you spending some time with us here at Voice Global. If someone wants to find out more about the company, where should they go?
Start with our website, www.cerence.com, and take it from there. Yeah? Or reach out to us. You'll find me on LinkedIn, and then we can take it from there.
And is that Cerence, Cerence? Is that correct?
Cerence, correct.
Yes, we'll make sure we got that right. Okay, well, Nils, thank you so much for your time. My guest has been Nils Lenke, and he is the Vice President of the Apps Business Unit at Cerence. Nils, thanks again.
It was a pleasure, and thank you for listening to me. Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.